Hello everybody. In this video, we will try to understand what happens when Jupiter is present in Shatabhisha nakshatra in a horoscope. So in order to understand this energy, first let's try to understand what is Shatabhisha nakshatra. Shatabhisha is a Rahu nakshatra which basically represents 100 physicians. So the theme of this particular nakshatra is always about healing and medicine, also secrecy and isolation. So Shatabhisha people generally, Shatabhisha energy people, they do not want to tell their secrets at any cost. So they hide the things. They're masters of hiding the things. So in hiding, Shatabhisha nakshatra energy is comparable to Anuradha nakshatra in hiding the things. So research and hidden truths, this is another theme of Shatabhisha. Technology and unconventional thinking is another important theme. It is in the heart of the sign Aquarius. Aquarius is very much famous for technology, so out of the box thinking energy. Also, this particular nakshatra is a bit detached to some extent, and it also represents a kind of collective growth. So they believe in collective growth, we say. So totally, whenever I see Shatabhisha energy, I feel this energy is a bit mysterious, scientific, and healing oriented also. And to some more extent, I also feel this energy is a bit detached and secretive too. So this is what I feel whenever I try to observe Shatabhisha energy, and the deity of this nakshatra is Varuna basically. And now what is Jupiter in Vedic astrology? Jupiter represents wisdom and knowledge, and also the righteousness, we call it as dharma. And if a person has good Jupiter in his horoscope, we say the person might have some kind of good teaching abilities or guiding abilities. And Jupiter also represents spirituality. And Jupiter expands whatever it touches. That is the fundamental dictum in Vedic astrology. So if Jupiter touches energy of another planet, it expands that energy. Jupiter touches one nakshatra, then that's it. The nakshatra's energy is amplified. And whenever Jupiter is a functionally benefic planet in your horoscope and has a very good dignity, it can give you nice blessings and also fortune in your life. So wherever Jupiter sits in that area, it tries to give more expansion in your life. So in whichever house it sits in, it expands the significations of that particular house. That is the fundamental nature of Jupiter. So when Jupiter is sitting in a nakshatra like Shatabhisha, which is a Rahu nakshatra, and also very much famous for its technology or its secretiveness, and also kind of unconventional medicinal energy, then how it feels like. So Jupiter is always about truth, wisdom and tradition, whereas Rahu, the Shatabhisha ruler, is always about illusion, unconventional energy, obsession and innovation. So the whole energy is seems to be it's a combination of some kind of conflict and innovation. So traditional wisdom gets distorted here. So this particular native having Jupiter in Shatabhisha, generally we expect the person questions the religion, because Jupiter and Rahu, they both are opposites in terms of religion. And also this person can create new philosophies, because Shatabhisha has that out of the box thinking, so it can create new philosophy. And blending science and spirituality is another combination, because Rahu is always about the modern science and Jupiter is about spirituality. So you're seeing the blend of science and spirituality. And in Vedic astrology, there is a yoga called Guru Chandala Yoga. Guru Chandala Yoga is nothing but the conjunction of Rahu and Jupiter. So such kind of flavor this energy also has got because of the combination of Rahu and Jupiter's energies. So it can give some brilliant but unconventional thinking. The thinking is brilliant, but it is not a conventional thinking. And also the person would be confused about belief systems in early age especially. And I would see this is a kind of deep researcher mindset, a scientific and analytical thinking I can observe in the person. And of course the person would be interested in astrology, healing or occult sciences, because Shatabhisha is always about that secretive knowledge. And of course he is an independent thinker. He doesn't follow the things blindly, for sure. And if you see the negative energies associated with this, because see, whenever this particular Jupiter sitting in the Shatabhisha nakshatra is afflicted, affliction means a planet sitting on the Rahu Ketu axis is called as an afflicted planet. Or if this particular Jupiter gains some kind of maleficity due to the aspect of Saturn or Mars, because Saturn and Mars aspects are always treated as malefic in Vedic astrology, whether they are functionally benefic or malefic to your ascendant, their aspects have some malefic impact. So when this particular Jupiter has some affliction or maleficity, you can expect the person, the native having Jupiter in Shatabhisha, is detached from emotions. So the person may not have great emotions, emotionally a bit hard you can find, or you can say detached from emotions. Even though in the early age he or she had some kind of emotional energy, but due to this combination, the emotions would be dried up. And I would say trust issues is another important thing we should talk about when this particular Jupiter and Shatabhisha is afflicted or having some maleficity. And secretive nature, the secretive nature can become abnormal if this Jupiter is afflicted, if this Jupiter and Shatabhisha is afflicted or having some malefic impact. And the person may feel isolated, even though the person is in a group, he feels isolated or misunderstood by others. So that is a fundamental energy when it is afflicted or having malefic energy. So this is what I can see with Jupiter and Shatabhisha. And another thing we need to talk about, the most positive thing of Shatabhisha is healing energy. So this healing may not be conventional, it can be herbal or it can be a kind of secondary medicinal secondary medicinal techniques like Reiki healing or Ayurvedic healing or some kind of herbal healing or homeopathic healing. So that energy also you can feel here. because Shatabhisha is always about medicine and healthcare. And I would like to say one more important thing as we're talking about Shatabhisha. It's a Rahu's, peaks of Rahu's energy, because Ardra, Swati, and then Shatabhisha. These is the order of Rahu nakshatras. If Ardra is a kind of seed and Swati is a kind of flower, then Shatabhisha is definitely a fruit or peaks of Rahu's energy. So whatever analytical thinking people have, that is all Shatabhisha's energy. That can be, so Shatabhisha energy people have this kind of analytics. They can understand analytics better, or if they are not very well educated, at least they can understand the hidden patterns. So Shatabhisha is very much famous for hidden patterns, right? Something like an alien is coming onto the earth and it's writing a pattern on the land. So that particular event, that particular pattern, I feel it is a kind of Shatabhisha's energy only. So they are good with astrology, occult sciences, technology, or any kind of modern technology, modern research, even mental healing, the Reiki healing, psychology. So I can see this Jupiter in Shatabhisha is giving a kind of guidance and healing ability to the people having this particular placement. So the person may become a teacher or a healer. It's a healing, teaching, this is the combination, right? So the teaching is not a regular teacher. He teaches the healing techniques, or the mental healing, the psychology. So a person may become a kind of a healer also, or someone who helps society through knowledge. That's another important thing we can observe with this placement. And the spirituality, as Jupiter is present here, we need to talk about some spirituality. But the spirituality is not a traditional spirituality with this placement. It's a non-traditional spirituality we can feel. And the person may reject organized religion in the early life itself, and later develop some kind of personal philosophy as well. So initially the person would start with some kind of doubt, and then explores the things and realizes, right, what is a real belief system, or what is the truth, right? So the person's life would start with doubt, and then he explores and then realizes. It's a self-discovered guru kind of a placement we can feel with this. And the person would definitely gain through some technology or foreign connections or unconventional fields. Definitely this person would gain through all this. So I would also tell you, at some point of time in this person's life, the income may become a bit irregular, because in ancient times Jupiter was always associated with some kind of wealth, some kind of prosperity and resources. So as Jupiter is in a kind of unconventional Shatabhisha's energy here, the income may become irregular at some point of time. And income related, if you observe ancient texts with this combination, you can also see that this combination can give some kind of sudden rise and fall related to it's irregular wealth, right? So it's a kind of non-linear success we observe with this, because Rahu is always non-linear, a bit abrupt, a bit sudden, a bit foreign, right? So if Jupiter is present here, you can expect that kind of energy is falling on this. Is this person is traveling with this kind of energy we can feel. And as we're talking about Rahu and also Jupiter and Rahu and Shatabhisha, it's about emotions also to some extent. So emotionally, the person is distant in the relationships and needs some kind of intellectual connection. So the person may feel like delaying marriage or prefer unconventional relationships. That's what the person may feel. But So I feel it's not a very expressive energy, but it internally the person might be feeling some kind of emotions, or internally the person is a bit idealistic, but it's not a very expressive energy. It's in terms of emotions, or in terms of relationships, not so expressive. So the fundamental challenge is, even though if there is no affliction or maleficity with this combination, Jupiter and Shatabhisha, so fundamentally this particular placement has some kind of challenges. So confusion in belief system, that is a fundamental thing, and overthinking, loneliness, because Shatabhisha is always about secretiveness, hiding things. So loneliness can be associated with this energy. Escapism tendencies, because somebody is trying to hide something, so that may lead to escape from some kind of things in the life. So if the person learns how to balance logic with faith, then his life improves. That's what I can say. But totally, as a whole, if I just see Jupiter and Shatabhisha, I feel it's a strong spiritual wisdom, is more balanced Jupiter energy also I can feel here. So kind of at times I can see some struggle in expression, or the person is practical but restricted growth the person may have in life. Say highly intellectual personality, a strong research mind I can see, a deep spiritual healer I can see. The person is very intuitive and also compassionate, I would say. So this is the whole different energies associated with this placement. So you can find a lot of scientists with this energy, philosophers, healers, but they use, of course, unconventional methods, and the person questioning everything you can find with this energy, and the person wants to find the truth with experience only. So, and then once he finds the truth, of course, eventually he guides others. So, not a traditional wisdom for sure, but a person would uh, try to get some higher truth. So this is all we can say. So a person can also earn wealth through some kind of secondary healing techniques, like Reiki healing, or kind of herbal. So this is the overall energy. So if the person is able to balance this Jupiter and Shatabhisha placement, then yes, he can do well in life, right? It's not a very bad placement. It's not at all a very bad placement. Fine, right? But the kind of confusion the person may have, is to be balanced here, right? Thanks for watching this video.